Welcome back. Now we try to understand something about form height. We already know about the form factor, which is the ratio of volume upon basal area into height of the tree. Now form height is defined as the product of form factor and total height of the tree, expressed as follows. We use the same formula as of the form height. Now rearranging these terms, we bring h and multiply it with f. It becomes f into h is equal to v upon s, where f is the form height, v is the volume of the tree under bark, and s is the basal area at diameter at breast height. Form factor is used to determine how far it is reasonable to assume that volume is proportional to basal area. If form height remains constant with increasing diameter, then it is clear that assumption is justified. So this is about form height. Now there is another form ratio given by A. Schiffel from Austria, which is known as form coefficient. Form coefficient is the ratio between mid diameter and diameter at breast height. So FQ is equal to mid dia upon diameter at breast height. Now here the mid dia refers to mid dia of the whole tree upon diameter at breast height. Now there is one problem associated with this, that if a tree height is twice that of the breast height, then in that case form coefficient will be equal to what? Mid dia. What is mid dia? 1.37 divided by 1. dBH is 1.37. So in that case this form coefficient will become 1, which is not practically possible for a tree. That means the tree is completely a slender without any tapering, and we know that tree has a taper. Whatever the size of the tree is, there is going to be a certain amount of taper in that. To remove this defect, a Swedish forester named Tor Johnson redefined form coefficient as the ratio between the mid diameter but above the breast height and dBH, to differentiate it from the Schiffel's. Now the mid diameter in this Tor Johnson's form coefficient ratio will refer to the mid of the diameter but above the breast height. Now it will be middle of this will be. Now there is no chance of form coefficient coming as 1. This is how we can define form coefficient. Now there is one more term as form class. Just like we have diameter classes, just like we have age classes, the same way we have form classes, defined as one of the intervals in which the range of form coefficients of trees is divided for classification. Suppose we have a set of trees and we have different form coefficients of those trees, and we have to classify that to which class they belong. This is the range. These are the absolute form coefficients for for some general stem shapes. As we know, the shapes of stem may vary from nailoid, conoid, quadratic paraboloid and cubic paraboloid, and the ranges are given here. Now if any tree falls has any coefficient, any form coefficient value, it can be rightly placed in any class among these classes. So this is how form classes work, just like diameter classes, for the purpose of further analysis. Now we have a term called as form point. Now form point is similar to, you can call it similar to the center of gravity. It is located approximately at the center of gravity of crown, since crown offers maximum resistance. Now the whole weight of a body is centered at the center of gravity. Now let's assume this form point or center of gravity of the tree lies here, and the pressure in the form of wind, force in the form of wind, is applied from here. Now this is the focal point of wind force, this point, this form point. Now based on this form point, we can derive a ratio known as form point ratio, which is the percentage ratio of height of the form point to the total tree height. Means this height at which form point is located divided by total height of the tree will refer to form point ratio. The greater the form point ratio, the more cylindrical the tree. If numerator value is greater, means the slender is more close towards the slender. Now, however, this point is difficult to locate in a tree and it is very subjective in nature. So the last thing we want to know is about taper equations. Now first we try to define what is tree taper. It is defined as the change in stem dia between two measurement points divided by the length of the stem between these points. Now if we have a tree and this is point 1 and this is point 2, the taper here will be more than this. We can take a reading here of diameter d1 and we can take a reading d2 here, then measure the distance between the 2 points. Now take the difference between these 2 points and divide it by the length of the stem between these 2 points. This will give you the taper of the tree. Taper equations attempt to describe it as a function of tree variables such as diameter at breast height and height. So these taper equations are the kind of models which have been formed using different measurements from different trees, from different species, and we try to fit the stem profile in a model form, and it is used to predict the dia at any point on the tree stem. Suppose we take data from a large number of trees wherein we take diameter measurements at different heights and derive the tree taper from them. Then we model those equations, then we do some kind of regression analysis on those on that data, and we can come up with a taper equation. Just like you can see in the next slide, some foresters have developed taper equations to arrive to estimate form of the tree, which is Hodger's formula and Behare's formula. Why to have these taper equations? These taper equations can be used for prediction of inside bark diameter at any point on the stem. It can also be used to estimate total stem volume. It also estimates merchantable volume and merchantable height to any top diameter from any stump height. It also helps us estimate individual log volumes. Now, ultimately the tree form which is equal to diameter at any point divided by diameter at breast height. These equations are developed from a huge pool of data taken from the field, and then it is used to predict diameter at different heights for the purposes as defined here. So this is all about the taper equations, how we form them and how they are useful to us. Thank you.